Hey everyone, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you. Now if you're finding me now and you already know about the Y70, you're going to be asking why the screen's not on, and I will show you in a bit. Yes, we are back with the Y70 from Hyte. It's an update from the Y60, which I will be completely transparent about. I am still using. I liked the fact it was so unique when it came out. I had a little soft spot for it in my heart, and it went on my desk. It's actually over there now because it came down from upstairs and is in the shed because I've been working in the shed for a little while, but I still use it, and I think that should say a lot. We do need to go around and have a look at it though, but it is going to cost you 349 of your Great British Beer tokens, 399 of your Euro tokens, or 359 of your United States dollars. I ran out of things that weren't tokens. I could have just said tokens again, but I don't know. I don't want to be offensive. Anyway, so 359 of your US American dollars. So it's not cheap, but we do need to remember that there is this massive screen panel there, and I've had a look at some of the ones on eBay, and some of the screen panels for this are like close to £300 anyway. You can get some cheap ones, but it's going to be higgity, and we do need to remember it comes built into your case, has software and everything as well, which you will see. Well, let's just do it now. Okie dokie, so onto the screen, and one of the reasons why you can see me using a monitor at the same time is one of the early beta limitations of the software is that you do need a monitor connected to be able to get it to go into app mode like this, because without it, it is essentially just an extra desktop on the PC, and it won't launch the separate, what they're calling the faces. Now the software looks a bit like this. I am having a few early beta problems with it, for want of a better term, but it is super new, and it does even say like early beta. So it's going to evolve. It's going to evolve fairly quickly. This version that I'm using now is totally different to the first version that I was using, and it is immeasurably better, and it will only, let's hope, get better with time. For argument's sake, like this section here now, you can actually get different layouts for it, whereas before it was just a box with the number in it. So things have changed massively. Now in Faces beta, effectively you can see what you have on the left hand side, and then there are lots and lots of options for what you can change at the top. Yes, things look wonky, but I can't do anything about it. So Twitch chat, you can have media on there like a video or something. This is a very bare bones sort of test rig that I have for the cases, so I have no media that I can add to put it on there, but you can have a cycling thing, or you can have an actual film on it if you wanted to. Stuff from your gallery. Calculator is cool because it is a touchscreen. That's something that we do need to remember, is that is a touchscreen. So you can just constantly have it on there for you to be able to smash stuff out with. As I said to you, it's much better with this section because, like I said, you can change how you want things to look. And we're changing this one over here on the left hand side. I had it on caterpillar, but like with temp, for example, you could have it on toenail, water level. You can move them all around and change them all, which is kind of cool. But the other thing that you can do is you can change all the colours and the themes, etc. if you want as well. Like with the background, you can customise all of the buttons and all of that sort of thing. So there's loads that you can do and add onto it. You can see there are some greyed out bits over here as well. So that's going to be cool in the future. But the screen itself, oh my days, it is, the colours, the way it looks is beautiful. Now in the background, what I'm going to do is, well, change the background basically, just so that you can see how vivid the colours are. And if I'm completely honest, if I was to turn the lights off in the room, it just gets better. Now this is just the ones that they've got on here. I think they'll add more to them. It will get better in time, but they are beautiful. and I do genuinely mean, like, it is glorious. And the fact that it comes completely built in. Oh, sorry, I thought that was a light bleed then, not bleed. I mean, like a reflection from the background, a bit like you can see the tree over there in my neighbour's house. But I thought it was the door behind me, but it is actually the earth, which is moving. It's a bit stuttery. It could be my system. It could be that. It could need tweaking. It could be something that they will fix over time. Talking about time, at the top, you've got the clock. Now you can do loads of different setups for the clock as well, which is cool. I'm just trying to get to the point where I can edit it, because I can't actually remember where it is. That would have been good for the video, wouldn't it, Tom? Yeah. Edit. Aha! There we go. So we can change the clock to a few different ways as well. What we can also do is go between 12, you know, simple sort of stuff, but I love the fact that we can actually do it. And my favourite background is this one. And you can see it's changed the colours because you can change all the colours of the letters. It changes the colours of that, and all of that is customisable within the software. So when you go in to add a background, for example, you can primary accent text, and you can actually customise it yourself if you want to, or you can just roll with it. And it's beautiful. Like I said, this one so far has been my favourite because of the red case and all of that. Oh, hang on a second. It's changed. There we go. So that is my favourite one, with the red and the colours and the way it looks around. The blacks are really nice. It is BEA beautiful. Now I always start at the front and at the top, which is here. But round the back is where you can lift the roof panel off and then expose the mounts. Now you do have 120mm and 140mm fan mounts on the close side, and you can get a 280 or a 360 in here, and that's why. And you've also got, you can kind of shuffle it over a little bit as well. You can see you've got a couple of 120 mounts, you've got a couple of 140 mounts. This section does come out as well if you want to be able to make it easier for you to be able to fit your rads. This section over here is basically airflow to resonate up from the back, should it be required, because you can have hard drives down in there. But I'll show you that in a bit. Round on the back of the panel, as you can see, it's plastic and there's some mesh there. Normally for an exhaust, I would remove the mesh. And that's just for me for airflow. Obviously you can then get sedimentary dust go down into your case, but I've always preferred to remove it, and it's not looking particularly easy with the Hyte. It wasn't with the other one. I don't think most of you are going to mind too much though. So now on to the case. I've obviously been spinning it around for you already. You have a combined headphone and microphone port there. It does come with an adapter in the box, in the pack, so it splits it out into individual ones if required. Then get 2 USB-A's and then a USB-C and a 3.2 Gen 2. Now the button, the switch here, it's actually a mechanical blue, and I will be completely honest, I know, Rob, you're not going to like this, but the first time I used it, I didn't get enough feedback from it, and I do still think it's quite light for a power switch. You do, however, get used to being able to just hit it and not need to be told that it's coming on, and you know it's just going to start. But the first few times that you use it, I just didn't get the feedback that I liked. And I'm going to tell you all right now, out of everything on this case, that is the bit I don't like the most. When I put this on my desk for me to use personally, that is something I'm going to have to find a way to change. Now, when we large panel here, glass, you can see it in, and you can see that the case is grown somewhat. Round the back, it's pretty much the same as it was last time, layout wise, but you do have these rather lovely grommets to have your pass-throughs. The only thing that I will say is, you can see I've got some cables down here. I've specifically not tidied them because I want to show you something on the other side. The other side of it, what I do want to say is, there isn't a way for us to have a fan here or anywhere over here. So this is your secondary intake path, one of the intake paths, you know, whatever. But you can put mechanical hard drives up here. You can put two 3.5s in. You can obviously use those to put solid state drives in, like 2.5 inch drives in there as well if you want. Power supply in the side, pulling the air in through that way, because you do need to remember that that is the intake for a power supply and that's the exhaust. I get people confused about that sort of thing somewhat. Now round the back, as you can see, power supply, your hard drives are actually removable from the back. As you can tell, I've not had that one open, but it's not hot swappable. You can take them out, but you're still going to need enough slack on the cables to be able to remove it. So that might be something you're not going to want to cable tie to within an inch of its life. Now they've stuck with the half height risers here, and you do get a riser cable with it to be able to vertically mount your graphics card. But what you can see is there are 4 visible usable slots there, and then effectively you've probably got another 1.5 slots, close to 2 before the window anyway. So even with the fattest graphics cards, you are going to have air between the graphics card and the window, which was something a lot of people moaned about with the previous version. While we are still round the back, you can put a 120 or a 140 in this section, and you've obviously got a lot of up and down movement for your personal preference on where you want to put it. Now, and a rather important area we need to cover before we get going is the bottom, because you have your secondary or primary, however you want to put it, intake point. But one of the things we can see is that you've got Velcro cable ties in the bottom of the rear chamber on the other side that you couldn't necessarily see because I had all my cables in there. But you've got the dust filter here, which is removable. Then this panel here is thumb screw, so you can remove it as well. Now in the paperwork, Hyte say that there is enough room there for 3 120mm fans. And if you want to remove this lower panel, take it off, fit your fans back in, you are only going to be able to fit 2. Because what happens if you want to fit 3, you have to fit the middle fan on, and then the other 2, you pretty much have to hang over the outside of the bracket. And it is like that for that side. You can see it overhangs quite a bit, and like that for this side, and it doesn't really very cleanly mount it on the other side. But I did pull this up with Hyte. They said, well, it does fit 3, it's just kind of tricky. I'm going to go with, you can fit 2. And 99% of you out there will only fit 2. But if they had have put 2 in their guide, and this is the beautiful bit about it, and the way it's switched around is just wonderful. If they have said they put 2, you can fit 2 in there, I'm the type of idiot that would have said, well, you could probably have fit 3 in there if you wanted to mess around. And that's one of the reasons why I get on with the people from Hyte, because we're on the same page. So I completely understand why they've said it. I just think there needed to be a caveat. 2 is easy, 2 is what fits. 3 if you can be bothered. And that is it really. Now you can see that you have feet and kind of stuff round here. I'm going to suggest that this is going to be a beautiful place to put an RGB strip so that you can create some underlighting on the side of your case. But that is just purely me brain farting. Now, we've already seen up in the roof, you can fit up to a 68mm radiator in the roof. Now, in the side, it's pretty much knock yourself out because there's loads of room. But what I will do is I'm going to remove the roof panel so that we can get extra light for the camera for when we do finally remove this front panel. Now the front panel is obviously a lot shorter than the case itself because we have seen this beautiful screen. Now when we zoom in, and I have to zoom you in for you to be able to see it, you can get a gist of the end of the motherboard tray is actually like a little bit of a curve, but you do get to see these wonderful grommets, which you can't particularly see. Now when you have your graphics card vertically mounted like it is, you can't see the wires that are visible round the back, because I did think they could have done a bit of grommeting or something to be able to shield off the cables that you pass through, like your USB cable at the bottom of the motherboard tray and the front panel headers. Now when you get your case, you will get a matching riser cable with it as well. Now it's a PCI Express 4 riser cable, it's half height. It's all very nice, it fits in with the theme wonderfully, but we do need to kind of remember that riser cables, proper ones, nice ones, aren't cheap either. So we're getting a big case with lots of airflow and plenty of place to put fans, but we're getting a screen built in and you get a riser cable as well. Now that somewhat alleviates the fact that you don't get any fans with the case, but we're going into a conclusion there. You've obviously got loads of room for graphics cards. You can fit a Strix Air card in here comfortably. Ta-da! See, it does fit comfortably. And the Strix is probably one of the longest cards that I've got here to be able to show you. It's also very wide, and the amount of room away from the motherboard tray with a Strix, which is basically, well, technically it's over a triple slot card. It's like a 3.25. You've still got 50mm of room before the side panel window. So if you've got a couple of 120s in the bottom blowing up, then you're going to get ample amount of airflow to be able to feed this side of the card. If you end up water cooling, then you're not going to have to worry about the length at the end. But if I was to say that you can go 360mm comfortably with graphics card length, and that's going to be, even if you've got a quad slot card, you can go 360. If you've only got a dual slot card, then you'd probably be able to go even further, but it's going to be difficult for me to measure. But you're talking 380 if you've got a dual slot card. So loads of length available in there. Now the radiator mounts down the side, I didn't really talk about that enough. You can put a 360 in the side with ample length. You can put up to a 280 in there. There's not 420 rooms, it's 280 or 360 or any combinations kind of around that. Obviously you can just put fans. The fans are going to need to go on the inside though. Don't forget, if you like your fans and you don't like to see the back of them, so this is where the air on a normal fan blows out from. It comes out that side. Lanley have one now where, and it's not a new thing, there are other manufacturers available, but you have one like that that looks like that, but the air still comes from that side. It's kind of confusing because they look exactly the same, apart from a minor change in the way that the blades look. But that means that you could put some beautiful fans up that side and not have to put up the frames. That's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to put it. And the reason why I know that is I actually have some here because I might need them for one of these. Anyway. Now it's a shame that I've not been able to have the screen on for a lot of these parts, but obviously then I would have needed a monitor on the floor and all of that sort of stuff. So you get it. You saw we had it on with the screen by the side of it. It's just one of the caveats with it at the moment. If you do run it without a screen, then you basically have a very strange resolution monitor, but that could be great for those of you out there that a monitor might go down and you can still get into the BIOS, so still go and do stuff. And weirdly, when I've been using it, if it has gone into the BIOS has been coming up on that screen, which is both funny and annoying at the same time. I can see a few people having to pull the cable out occasionally if they are fault finding or doing bits and bobs. Anyway, £350 sounds like an awful lot of money for a case, and it still is. But if it was just a case, then we could start having arguments about it. But the value of the screen in itself there's a lot of value there. And the other way to think about it as well is they've built it in and incorporated it, and you don't need to mod it in. Now, although for someone like me that wants to do that sort of thing, normally when you have a screen, it's not touch screen and it's just kind of a panel somewhere. This is an integral part in the case and in the experience. The software will only get better as well. I've seen a couple of iterations, and the version that I showed you today is it's not even 9 times better. It's just immeasurably better. It was a much, much nicer process. And it's also given me an insight into the amount of things that you're going to be able to do with that screen. It's touchscreen. You can have your favourite game there or something so that you can have a shortcut. Same with a website. You can have your Discord stuff kind of popping up on it. So if you've only got a single monitor, and because you've only got enough room for that, you can have things popping up on that screen. It could be amazing. The amount that you will get from this, it's only going to be your imagination in reality and how quickly Hyte keep updating that software. Plenty of room in there for big kit, big radiators, well-planned water cooling setups, that sort of thing. Now, some of you are already saying to me, oh, you've not tested it. I think the problem with this case, in reality, is if I test it, it's only really warranted for the hardware that I have in it. I could put 3 fans in the roof, 3 fans in the side and 2 fans in the bottom, but even then, your fans could be different. You might want to run fan curves, whereas when I test, I always end up setting them static. It's just going to come down to what you want to do with it. They have said, though, because there were some issues that people were whinging about temperatures in it last time, but they were mainly linked down to the graphics card. Well, you couldn't fit this graphics card really in the Hyte 60 unless it was snug right up against the window, and then yes, you're going to get slightly warmer temperatures because it couldn't breathe as well as it could do in a normal conventional layout. They've now added in so much extra room that we've got a Strix in there, and you've got 2 inches by the side of it. So and you've got two fans easily mountable straight underneath it to be able to feed it with airflow. So there shouldn't be any problems at all. It's not restrictive. There's fan mounts there. So like if you're getting hot graphics card temps, I'd be looking at what fans you've got or your graphics card kind of setup, because it should be absolutely fine. So lots of room in the roof, lots of room in the side, lots of room for lots of stuff. Obviously, I've got the beautiful red one. They do a white one with black internals. They do a white one with white internals, and they do a black one as well. I can already see that we need to have some plays with colours, but you'll see me doing more with this shortly, because I've already been talking to them about possible things that I want to do, because I'm going to use one. I really like it. I really like it a lot, and that is why it is going to get the TTL thumbs up, because it's a cracker, and I'm actually really enjoying seeing the evolution and the fact that Hyte are pushing boundaries and bringing new things to the table. If only you knew what was coming next, because that is another step again.